Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Bridge Debates. My name is Jacqueline Cowan. I'm an ISIC volunteer. So the Bridge Debates is a series of talks bringing together researchers from different specialties to discuss a range of different conscientiological topics. The Bridge Debates, it occurs every 2 months in 3 languages, English, Spanish, and German. And it's held on Sunday afternoons at 2:30 p.m. At the Brazilian time zone. So today we'll be talking about the topic, the Theorice of the clarification task. And we have 4 guest speakers, who I will introduce after a short video. So our first guest speaker is Flavio Amado, and he has a background in agronomy. Flavio is a Penta practitioner, has been a Penta practitioner since 1997, a volunteer of the Invisible College of Pentology and of the International Association of Pentology, ICTNEPS, and is a co-author and organizer of the book Teáticas da TNEPS, which in English translates to Theorice of Penta. So welcome, Flavio.
It's a pleasure to me to be here talking with my colleagues about clarification task. Thank you for the invitation.
Great. It's great to have you here with us. So our next guest is Patricia Barbosa. And Patricia is an entrepreneur, works with medical physics and international education. She has been a projectiology instructor since 2009 and is focused on the internationalization of conscientiology. So welcome, Patricia.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for the invitation. Hi, everybody. I hope you have a lovely and profitable debate.
Great. And our next guest is Luis Ferreira. So Luis is a physician. He is a conscientiotherapist and has been a volunteer since 1991. Welcome, Luis.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for the invitation, Jacqueline. And I hope to have a very nice debate here. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome. Okay, nice to have you here with us. And our final guest speaker is Valesca Ferreira. So Valesca is an entrepreneur, a CEO at Imagistica Business Agency in advertisement design, at an advertisement design and digital marketing company. She has been an instructor since 1997 in IIPC and since 2013 in Conscious. And Conscious their work is focused on evolutionary self-knowledge through the conscientiometric approach. Welcome, Valesca.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, everyone, for me being here. And I hope that we can help you with your questions and doubts. We're here to that.
Great. So it's very nice to have you all here debating this very interesting topic for today. And I should probably just mention to everyone who's watching online, please feel free to ask any questions. If you have any questions or doubts or ideas or things you want to mention, please feel free to write them in the chat. And we have Adina Opria, who's a volunteer, who will be asking these questions, okay? And then we will answer them. Okay, so let's begin. And first of all, I guess I would like to ask each of you to define this concept, right? The clarification task. How would you define it?
Okay, I'll start.
Ladies first.
Okay, thank you. Okay, basically, clarification tasks is any idea to teach, to tell, to convey to people that impacts other consciousnesses, and in the sense that they start a recycling process. So what is a recycling process? Any change can be around the person, sometimes moving, exchange the place they are. I mean, they go to another place, they go to another country, they change job, they start changing the way they dress, any kind of change, external change, and also an internal change. That's the main one, because you start to change the way you think, the way you approach, the way you relate to people, the way you convey, to manifest affection. So that's the main focus when I think when you start doing clarification task. That's the main important focus.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So my colleagues now.
Yes, I quite agree with Valeska. And I think that clarification task is every attitude or speech or even your energetic pattern that clarifies or enlightens people somehow, make people understand something, a personal behavior, a parapsychic phenomenon. This is valuable information that make people think, reason, and reach to something new, you know? So sometimes our own example, our way of living and dealing with things, with problems, with questions, bringing solutions is a way to do clarification task, not only the speech, not only teaching classes, you know? For instance, if you're a scientist and you research in the materialistic point of view, like a physicist or a scholar, and you start developing your personal parapsychic skills, for example, the lucid projection, just your example to be developing the lucid projection can enlighten someone. And this is one way of making clarification tasks.
Very nice.
Well, I would add, I agree with my colleagues as well. And I would like to say that when we start talking about these two tasks, we have the consolation task and the clarification task. So it's very important to know the difference. Consolation, as you may know, it's something that it's good sometimes, and sometimes it's necessary. You know, you start with the consolation, and after, if it's possible, you get to the point of the clarification. Okay. Focusing my specialty, you know, the specialty which is consciential therapy. I would say that clarification task is very much important for our business, because without that, you are going to be in some level of recycling. But if you go to the clarification task, so consciential therapy, in my opinion, is a self-clarification task. If I can say like that, we can talk a little further about this later.
And I agree with my colleagues. I think it was two well-defined type of interstitial tasks, but the clarification task is more advanced, more evolved, because they promote renewal and change the conscience. And the console task promote dependence and keep the conscience at the same level. It's but both of these tasks are complementary, but we need to, in just a moment, what the conscience need, and but it's prefer to use every possible clarification task, because they cause renewal in the comportment of the person.
Yes, renewal in the behavior of the
Okay.
consciousness, exactly, in the person. Very nice. Very nice to hear, different angles of different ways to define this concept, the clarification task. So, Lewis, you started to talk about the importance of the clarification task for your specialty in terms of conscientiotherapy. But I would like, if everyone could talk a little bit about how they understand this concept from the perspective of their specialty.
Well, in the conscientiotherapy area, we would say that we have always to look for this goal when we are performing some kind of self-consciential therapy. I wouldn't say always self-consciential therapy because this is something that we try to develop all the time. We have to teach. We want to teach the evolution. Evolution is the person who is passing by any kind of consciential therapy. So the evolution, not the patient. Okay, it's different because we try to bring the person, the consciousness, and this consciousness must work with us together, and we try always to clarify the things, because consolation, sometimes you are making a fool of yourself, and we go to a certain level of knowledge and renew, okay, and recycling. But with clarification, it's more important to us. And of course, it's not that easy to do this, and it's not a very pleasant task. Sometimes when we speak something, when we are talking in a session, for example, a person is going to react because consolation is easier, and sometimes it's easier to accept but when you are clarifying something, sometimes we have to go very very smoothly in order to not make the person react. In the first place, we try to think, just listen, think, and maybe later you are going to agree or not. But it's very important not to react, and sometimes clarification tasks push someone to react first place, but after a while the person gets to know what is talking about, and we come to a common sense. Okay, is it missing something?
No, that's great. That's but I was thinking it depends on the openness of the person, right? How open they are to receiving this information. Yeah.
Yes. When we this is something that people who are not use it with the consciential therapy way of thinking, but and mainly the sessions there when we are doing the consciential therapy, even if it's in online way or presential way, we always put in the record of the person, because after every session we write down some informations about the session, and we always, the first thing that Mr. Vieira used, he told us to say to write down in the file if the evolution is open or closed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the first information sometimes, and we put a O or a C, because you start, of course, in the first sessions, sometimes the person is closed. Closed for what? Closed for going deep into recycling, close to listen to some things that are going to be said during the sessions, so it's very important, and this is something that must be in the first place, but this is something that we cannot make for the person. The person has to open yourself, or themselves, and or close. This is something that comes out from inside to the outside. Okay, we can never change this. Even with the energy, we can exteriorize a lot of energy, but we cannot change a single tone scene. Okay, but so the openness that we think that is very important and necessary for a good outcome of the consensual therapy is something that the person has to promote from the inner part of the consciousness. Okay.
Great. Anyone else would like to comment on this question?
I can talk about my specialty.
Yes.
My specialty is pentology. Pentology is the science that studies penta. Penta is a personal energetic task. It's a task that you make daily with helpers, and you transmit energies from assistant ones with the helpers. Mm-hmm. And to promote your lucidity and to its activity for rest of your life. And the Penta practice, when you transmit your energies, maybe helpers inspire you to think about the recycles that you make during your life, and how to do this. And it inspires the consciousness be assisted. And what you give during you exteriorize your bioenergies is the results of your recycles, the fruits of your superation, overcomings, mm-hmm. and things like that. And I think Penta is make a claritask field during the energetic transmissions daily, because you use your exemplarism to promote recycling in the other conscience.
So as you said, it's the result of, everything that you've worked on within yourself, the quality of your clarification that you have during your day, and then it shows up in your penta when you're performing that assistance.
Yes.
Mm. Very good. Anyone else?
Oh, yes. I may say that the clarification is must, if I should say that. It must be one of the bases of the study of lucid projection. So my specialty is the projectiology, which is the scientific approach of a parapsychic phenomenon, which is the out-of-body experience. So here is a core concept, because when we approach these clarifying and explaining people and inviting people to experience and not only believe, it's a huge, let's say, almost a diaspora relative to the previous fields of knowledge that deals with parapsychism. So people used to develop parapsychism maybe in a mystical concept or even in a religious concept. And the idea of conscientiology and projectiology is to bring a scientific and the principle of disbelief, which means do not believe in anything, not even in what we're saying here. We're here only to inform. And you must experience and prove to yourself, not try to convince others that these phenomena exist. So it is very important to clarify people. So we have techniques to develop the lucid projection and all the parapsychic phenomena that come along with it. We have ways of writing down. You should write down. We have scientific publications in order to really inform people. And this is one way of the clarity task. You don't want to convince people. You're bringing important information so the person is free to make their own decisions. So it's also related to give autonomy to people. So you're not going to believe in everything that I say, or if someone have a lucid projection, talk to an extra physical being, people that has already dead, has no longer this physical body. The idea is this: do not believe in these things. This is just an information, and this is a way of making clarification task. It's important to develop autonomy, and not be dependent on some mystical or religious concept, or be dependent to a guru or something like that.
That's it. Very good.
When I was heard about Patricia talking about projectology, my first contact with this science is by book Projectology by Valdo Vieira, and I apply a technique for astral projection to leave my body, and it worked. It changed my concepts about the extraphysical life, because I have before this, it's in the early 90s and 99, and I have some conditions about the religions approach and Orientalism's approach. But when I find projectology book, it's changed my wisdom about extraphysicology.
That's it. It's for a lot of people who have reported that once they had that out-of-body experience, right, it was like very clarifying for them. It's all of a sudden, it brought so much information about who they are. I think, the out-of-body experience in itself, right, is clarification.
It's a self-clarification task, actually.
Exactly.
That's what we do in Conscious. That is an International Association of Interassistential Conscientiometry. One need to know yourself to understand the weak traits, the strong traits, missing traits as well. And because otherwise it will be difficult to deal with other people. We have certain level of unconscious knowledge of each other. But when you start studying at Conscious, like self-research, we start doing a more professional level, in a more evolutionary level. So that's what I was saying before when I was talking about the concept of clarification tasks. It's about to focus in this, as Patricia said, through example, speech classes where you convey ideas to clarify in light, impact in a way or many ways the person, so that person starts to make more relevant changes in his or her life. And at Conscious, we have some techniques, and we work with self-diagnosis. So we start to know yourself, but to be able to do that, you need to have a certain percentage of openness to new ideas of who you are. So the more you know yourself, without trying to blind yourself about your, for example, weak traits. Sometimes it's not nice knowing your weak traits. we start to it is a kind of self-clarification task. So we start facing your reality and the way life is. Sometimes we live in a world, and a make-believe world, because it's difficult to deal with the day-to-day life many times. And the way we do that in conscious is helping people to know better themselves through lots of conditions. For example, the way you love people, the way you relate to people, the how your values are, which values you have, the way you think, the way you write, the way you defend yourself. So there are a lot of metrics. So we start to understand more about ourselves. So the deeper you go inside yourself, in intraconscientiology, interconscientiality, you are able to go as well deeper in other people, of course, if they allow to. But you are able to do that because your limit is the way you approach yourself, the way you go deeper. I mean, your limit, inside the limit, is the limit for your clarification task. The more you know yourself, the more you can do a high-level clarification task. It's more or less like that.
That's it. Very nice. So does anyone else want to just add a comment, or it's okay, I can keep going? Okay, so we have some questions. So Adina, if you'd like to come in and...
Yes.
Great.
We have a couple of questions. The first one from Luciano Rainier. How would be the Clary task effective at the assistance in intraphysical or extraphysical as being assisted by other consciousness?
So who would like to answer this question? By Luciano.
I think I can talk about exemplarism. No one's bring to our Penta practice that don't have relation with us or our helper. And they are our old companies from the past. And when in our energies and in our attitudes, you put our recyclings, our changes, they think, oh, he changed. It's not the same. And if he can do this, I can do this too. And our example in our energies, it's very important for assisted our extraphysical and intraphysical companies. Even our intraphysical companies think, oh, he changed. He don't make more the same euros, don't have more same attitudes from the past. It's a new person, a new consciousness. It's very important to change other concepts, our examples.
Well, another approach to answer that question, and thank you, Luciano, for your question, is that if you want to assist someone, and let's say you have a difficult conversation at your work or inside your family, a delicate topic, and you know that the people will react badly. So you can anticipate that conversation, that clarity task in the extra physical dimension. So for instance, you can set a goal every night, a couple of days before, to really talk to these people. And maybe you can apply what we call the assistential technique. The projective assistential technique, you evoke extra physical helpers, which are consciousness that are there interested in giving peace to these people and trying to resolve their issues, help them to resolve their issues. This extra physical helpers can also mediate like an extra physical talk, meaning a talk in another dimension. And it could be like a preparation of the real deal, the real talk in the interphysical dimension that is to come, you know. How do we know if it's effective or not? Just by looking at the results, you know. And it's not a problem if you don't get it right at the first time. It's interesting for you to insist, try to do it. Maybe you remember or not the lucid projection. Keep doing it, you know, and look at the results. Are the outcomes positive? Was it easier to have that difficult conversation? So this is one way to measure the effectiveness of your clarity task using some parapsychic skills as well.
Very good. So shall we go to the next question, Adina?
Yes, the next question is from Evelyn Malzani. Do you have any ideas regarding verbalization versus silence in terms of clarification? Are they equally strong? And continues. For example, answering someone when attempting clarification versus remaining passive, silent, and let the person think and or answer themselves.
Well, I would say, first of all, it depends on the setting that you are in. Okay, it's when you are having a cafe with us or coffee with someone, it's something. But in consciential therapy, we say that sometimes silence is more eloquent than speaking. Okay, so there are times that we have to stop being in silence, and silence is a topic of study in consciential therapy as well as in psychotherapy, because it's the time that the person that is there takes to think about what is being said, or or think about their own problems. Okay, so it depends. So this, I think that this is the point where clarification is most difficult, because sometimes we don't know the results of what we are going to say. But as we say, maybe, oh, I have to tell the truth to the other, the truth, nothing but the truth, all these things. But no, sometimes the truth may harm, may if the person is not ready to listen to what you are saying. So the truth doesn't come with with an allowance to be said just because it's true. What we have to think about is the consequence of the clarification that we want to promote. And that's why we have to be careful about clarification. And many people, when they start studying conscientiology, they want to spread this new idea to everyone. And so sometimes we come with a baseball bat and start to break someone's head and try to put some concepts, you know. But it's not like that, because the person must be ready for that. And it's very difficult. And that's what to know when. But as Patricia said, the results may help us to understand and we get better with this kind of tasks if we consider the results, okay, and not just your personal ego. Oh, I have to say it like that, or because I'm in a position that, for example, I'm a conscientiotherapist and I'm there with evolution, and because I am there, I can say anything. No, this is not true. Okay, we have to ask ourselves, what do I want with this information? Is to clarify, really, or we want just to, shake the other consciousness that is in front of us? Sometimes it's necessary, and that's why I said it. Sometimes clarification is unpleasant, but necessary. Okay.
Sometimes it's a bitter medicine, but it's very effective.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
In conscious, you used to say that is. I mean, there you can't say. You can't say that quote like, "Do as I say and not as I do." You need to be able to be in silence and to be yourself a clarification task. Your energies need to convey that. So that's why the silent works. Because when you have theories and practice, I mean, the things you are teaching, the ideas you are talking, you practice yourself. You're not perfect, but you have a percentage of practice because you are still developing. And you can help people with other people with that. That's why you can be inside sometimes in the silence. You used to say that is the best example, the best way when the words, they have a barrier. Sometimes a person can't listen that. It will be very difficult, but they can see what you are doing. And as Flavio said, the person thinks, my goodness, this is a different person. How come? She was like that, and now she's doing different. She's more pleasant. She's more agreeable. She's more assistential. So this is very, very effective. So in conscientiology, I mean, in a room, and when you're giving classes, we have a proper place to do clarification task. So there is the best way, the best place. But in the normal world, I mean, outside the classroom, you need to be very careful. Otherwise, you become an intruder.
Mm.
And when we are very, very happy because those ideas make sense, and we want to tell everyone, so start to try to convince people because it helped you, and you hope you're helping everyone else, but it's not like that. So helping you when you start doing recycling. So this is the first thing, without doing anything to others directly, but your recycling, your changes impact them. And mainly the extra physical consciousnesses that are around you, so they are very impacted as well. And I mean, it is a good thing to think over, to being silent. Sometimes it's the best way.
That's it. Anyone else would like to comment, or do we have another question, Adina?
For time being, no, that's all.
Okay, great. So let's keep going. So how easy or difficult would do you guys think it is to apply the clarification task in daily life? You've already spoken about how it can be a challenge, right? But just thinking of maybe, just your daily life, even outside the context of volunteering, just in all aspects of your life, right? Is everyone able to apply it, or?
I think it's the clarification task is more difficult to apply. They need some type of preparation, because you need to make your self-research and understand this aspect before you teach others to do this. And you say more no than yes in the clarification task, and you don't have concern about your self-image and to be pleasure to others. I think it's more difficult. I remember a book, Where the Religions End, from Marcelo da Luz. This book, they have an English version, and it's very interesting because he starts to make a console task, and during your life, he learned how to make a clarification task. It's a big challenge, and change your companies during your life. For one person, it's more easy, but for others, it's a very difficult, because the links from the past and your companies change too. But it's a challenge. It's a very evolutionary attitude to improve your clarification task.
Yes, and talking about evolution and this recycling that we're doing, sometimes when we want to change something, and especially if you're dealing with some core values, if you're changing one value to a more evolutionary one, there are some extra physical companions that doesn't like it. They don't like it, right? They get bothered with this movement and this changes. And sometimes, even if you want to speak, of course, silence is a very good way of making clarity task, but sometimes you need to position yourself and the words must be spoken, in order even to update your self-image to everybody that knows you, even from past lives. You need to update yourself. And sometimes you need to speak things. And there is some extra physical pressure. This is one of the difficulties of making the clarity task. There is some extra physical pressure that really wants to shut you up. And then you need to work with your energies, check your intentions, and be firm. Sometimes clarification task demands this. You need to be firm, You can be gentle in a peaceful way, but also firm. And I think this is one of the difficulties that we face inside the conscientiology classroom or not,
That's it.
And for sure, I think it's for everyone that is interested in developing especially autonomy, helping people to develop their own autonomy. These people that are already interested in these things and self-development and self-research, it is almost natural that you start choosing to clarify than to console only, because of the results as well, You really want to assist others, so you really want that the person can change and develop and be better. So why omit those informations that is going to really help those people? But of course, don't be naive. Sometimes the person, there's a lot of extra physical companions with this person that may attack you in an energetic way, not because they are bad and they want to simply attack you, but they're thinking differently. So there are those scenes, which are the thoughts, the sentiments, and the energies are so different from yours that sometimes you feel it as an attack. So in order to do more qualified clarification tasks, I think it's also important to develop and master your own energies, with the vibrational states, mobilizing your energies, and maintaining your intention as existential as possible. I think it helps.
Very nice, Patricia. In a later question, I think it would be very interesting to know, like, the importance of, mastery of your own bioenergies and the development of your parapsychism, how much, that contributes to performing the clarification task. And, what you've already implied, it's very significant. But let's continue on with this question, and then if anyone else would like to comment on this other question later, we can do that. So who else would like to share their ideas?
I just would like to add that everyone is entitled to Claritask, okay? Everyone. Just what we have to take care of is to be careful, That's what I mentioned before. It's not because something is true that we have to say it. We have to convey this idea, and of course we have to be to be in for example, if you are talking to a friend, wait for him to ask your help or ask your opinion, not just start giving their opinion sometimes in a delicate subject. But if the person asks you to say something, maybe you can go for a clarification conversation, But sometimes we have to be careful because we want to help, not to disturb the other conscience more than the person already is.
That's it. Okay. Yes, this idea is very important, respecting the boundaries of the other person. And so this is something, I think over time as well, we get a better notion, but that's it. So let's keep going with the next question. Can you guys give an example of a time in your life when you successfully used the Claritask?
Sure, maybe a very simple example at work, sometimes we have these meetings with the board and sometimes with some leaders inside the company. And I noticed that some of them tends to be over-aggressive in order to motivate people to do something, or in order just to trying to bring more quality to the work, or the person confuses a little bit, this aggressiveness with professionalism, and that's not a very nice approach, because it's not necessary, to develop, to improve quality, or to improve the demand from one worker. You don't need to be over aggressive. And this person did that to me 2 weeks ago. And I positioned myself, said, no, you don't need to crush me. Said, no, let's crush her. So in order to increase performance, I said, no, you don't need to crush me. No, don't do this. Be more delicate. And I make a joke, send me love, not this, this other bad stuff and over aggressive. And it was like that, in the meeting, in the middle of a meeting. 1 week after, another person, which is a superior leader in the hierarchy of this person, did the same thing to her. And I think she was used to that over-aggressiveness in the workplace, And then I think maybe for the first time in her life, she positioned herself And she used the same way that I did. No, don't do this to me. It's not necessary. So I think it's a very common things that may happen in our daily lives, very common example. And it's a way of doing claritask,
Yeah, with some good humor, right? To be able to communicate to others. You don't need to sometimes, especially in a public environment, sometimes good humor can go a long way without,
Yes, a good humor. I have one example that happens today in the classroom. In this morning, I had a student at Conscious, and he described he had some emotional distance, so he avoided touching people, hugging people, kissing people. He's more like distant, and it was difficult to see that. So when I was able to see that with the help of other students, we joked with him because he was very young, and he was the last one to be a guinea pig in that course. So I said, now we are going to hug you every classroom, the moment you get here and the moment you leave. People line up, let's go to hug him. And it was very funny. He was blushed, but I mean, he was totally disarmed by that because it was a joke, but it was a very, was an effective joke. Like we have some affection. The approach was affection, so we could help him, hugging him, because he's very quiet and close to himself. So using the humor, we could break that, and it was funny. Everyone integrated. Everyone wanted to hug him. He was hugging everyone. So in the end, it was very nice. So this is a clarification task also. Not being serious. Okay, so you need to get closer to kiss everyone. No, let's doing that right now because you can't. So I think that helped him a lot.
That's right. In that specific context, with that particular situation and consciousness,
Yes.
what was the best approach, and
yes,
that was
exactly.
Yeah.
And it was very funny as well. So it was light. Don't need to be heavy. And when you are able to turn that thing, that the claritask, in a light way, to convey that in a light way is the best, because sometimes it's difficult. It is very difficult to him. So we joke, everyone laughed. He laughed too. So was funny, was lovely, great time. People left the classroom like everyone happy. So it was a good thing. It was very good. So you need to see the context. This is very important. And also, you need to check your intention, because you can do exactly what I did, but if you have an intention to, for example, to put that person in a ridiculous situation, to use irony, to use sarcasm, you can do as well. But your intention is to destroy in a sophisticated way, not to help. So I think one important thing is to check your intention before doing anything, before saying anything.
That's it.
I think that in this example that Valesca is bringing us, it's good because the clarification tasks not only talking, they just hug each other, and there was a behavior, a physical behavior that was most effective, than just talking. She could spend an hour talking about the benefits of hugging, kissing, and
precisely.
Well, but it wouldn't get to the point as well as the hugging behavior was did. So I think this is important. Clarification is a very, very, very wide concept, and it can be achieved in many
forms.
ways. Yes.
Exactly.
And anyone else would like to share an example?
I can give an example when I file and have a successful use for clarification task. When I started, I have some friends that are from spirit movement, and I needed to convince them about the superiority from conscientiology over spiritism. It's like a brainwashing, and it's not a good attitude. And with time, when I give my first class in conscientiological in IIPC is about difference between clarification task and consult task. It's my first class. It's I think it's a successful example. And I write my first verbet, and I go to Encyclopedia of Conscientiology, and it's a good example. And I'm writing my first book about Penta. And it's different because in the first case, people don't ask me what I think. I need to prove them about the superiority of conscientiology. It's not good idea. People have your needs, have your time, your moment, and we can help when they are open to receive this information. And it's not needed to convince anyone about our ideas. It's it's a learning during time.
That's it. That's it. I think, yeah, at the beginning, how many of us were kind of in that phase? You know, we may, as we're learning, we're gaining an understanding of these concepts, and then we start to moderate ourselves, and yeah, through our own practice, right? We are able to practice the clarification task better. So very good. Okay, so let's keep going. Adina, is there any questions that you have for us?
Yes, we have. The next one is from Irina Kodruta. Hi, how can one overcome the negative effects of an aggressive and bad clarification task done by someone who has brought more imbalance to the person?
Wow. That's a good one. Happens a lot. I think would be intelligent if you are able to do that is to focus on the idea and not on the way of the person. Because sometimes if you only focus on the way of the person or the intention, sometimes they are bad intention. Sometimes they're not. They're just aggressive, but sometimes are bad. But even though that person may have said something very good for you, so you can learn even from that. This is a very good way to learning from our intruders. Our intruders, usually they point out some traits on us, some traits that usually they are right, but we get very angry with them because of the way they do that. And we lose an opportunity. So the way is to focus on the content, not on the way of the person is doing that. And be aware of the intentions of this person, if it is aggressive or had hidden intentions, you know. And if brought you some imbalance, it's because your ego sometimes was hurt, or sometimes even yourself, I mean, in a holosomatic way. But the idea is see if you could be helped by that, but that content, not the form. If you focus on the form, you can be unbalanced for a long time. So let that thing go. Don't focus on that. That's the way I think.
Great.
Yes, I think another strategy is to, if the person was aggressive to you, you can forgive the person, and try not to keep brooding over this thought or the situation, just forgive, make the best of it, make the most of it, and go forward, because the person is making a mistake, but don't we as well? So it's part of the evolution and the learning, and sometimes forgiving and letting it go is healthy, is a healthy thing to do.
Other thing that I would like to address is that, for example, you should ask yourself why you had such feelings after hearing any information or any opinion that this person may have upon you. And I think what Valesca said is very important. Of course, you cannot be in someone else's shoes in order to know the real intention of the person. But first place, do not disqualify the information. Because when you get bothered by something, you should pay attention to what has been said or has been shown. So you should pay attention, because this can help you to open other hypotheses that may explain your behavior. So, as Valesca said, the intruders, a lot of time, many times, they bring to us, some informations that are not pleasant, but they are helpful anyway. So at first place, we have to calm down our psychosoma, and bring the information to the mental soma, but not just to make any kind of a suffocation or something like that. No, you just think about and try to work with the information and put aside the emotional side of the situation there, and as Patricia said, try to forgive, because, and this is very difficult sometimes, because usually we get pissed off with people that are very near us, it's a relative or is a very close friend, and how can this person think about this, or how can the other say something like that? But this is something that happens every day, and we have to be able to work with this inconvenient, dialogues sometimes, but try to be to use it for our personal growth.
Other technique we can complete, Luis, is about penta. Before start penta practice, you use the technique of asepsia of your daily contacts. Don't think badly about everyone. You exteriorize your best energies before start the penta practice. For the conscience, you have some discussions, some type of disagreement, and look to see this conscience in the better situation. And last week I have a situation like this, and I have some discussion with my parent and my relatives. And when I start painting, I only can think good about this person. It's like it's my big friend, my colleague. I send my best energies to you, and it's some type of liberation of the accept sterilization of energies. It can help you, even if you don't forget, but you don't need more to cause more damage or more suffer for their for someone, and you are desiring your best energies for him.
Yes, I think one way of broadening the approach of this situation is really to include parapsychism there, right? Because sometimes the person is aggressive, but it's not aggressive alone. There are extra physical consciousness that are angry at you, that maybe they're even angrier than the person that is speaking to you, you know? And if you start working with your energies and trying to perceive the extra physical context, maybe it will calm you down and it will give you more information on how to deal with the situation. So again, a lucid projection, exteriorizing the best energies, as Flavio said, trying to perceive the environment and trying to understand even more what are the extra physical context and the para intention of those consciousness that are there. There are a lot of hypotheses, you know, maybe all these extra physical companions knows you. They are collecting a debt from a past life, or they are aggressive for any other reasons. And if you apply a projective technique with the intention really to forgive or to, I don't know, to make amends with these people, you know, it is one good approach as well. So not being naive, you know, and really using, or actually not using, but manifesting ourselves as multidimensional consciousness sometimes helps us to deal better with such an aggressive approach, because you understand you're broadening your, not only your understanding, but also your capabilities of action. So this inner approach, as Luis and Valesca said, are very important, but is also this extra consensual approach that could be enriched if you do it in a multidimensional way.
Very good. So, Adina, do we have more questions?
Yes, the next question comes from Paulo Franco. When people are afraid to apply the clarification task with someone because they are too close, family, and we are not sure if we have already managed to do it correctly, how can we qualify for this?
Well, first of all, if you are, I'm sorry, do you want to speak?
I was about to say something you said, so you started.
Okay. No, I was going to say that if you are not sure about what you're going to do, don't do it. Okay. Hang on, think a little longer, reflect about your intentions. And this is something important. And go for it. Sometimes we are going to make mistakes, but how can we learn without making mistakes? If we don't try, we will never learn how to do it. Of course, not everybody, and even close people, are not our, experiments. We have to be. If you are in doubt, refrain. And think a little longer. Maybe it's not the time for clarification, and you have to wait a little longer. That's what I was going to say.
And I remember one was you were saying that when you're very close to people, it's always more difficult because so people are not afraid of being more emotional or reactive to you because of this intimacy. So one thing apart what Luis said is do your own homework. Your homework is when you are, doing your recycling, trying to be a better person, understand more people, to overcome your issues. So this is something that the silent is very eloquent. You're silent in this matter, because being an example for them, it is a clarification task. So sometimes it's just you're anxiety and saying something is bothering you more than to stop bothering you than to help that person. So again, you need to check your intention, because the word can be better because it's convenient for you. So if you are having trouble accepting that, you need to do your homework. And doing your homework, this means that you will be more tranquil, more, your clarity task will be more assertive in the sense of be more precise in the right time. And
Okay, I think Valeska has dropped out. So if there's someone else who would like to answer the question.
I think she was talking about sometimes we have some hidden intentions, right?
Yes, very
like
hidden.
a hidden agenda. And it's the closer you are to the person, the more you know the person, the more the person knows you. And it's easy to get your objectives clouded by your intentions, And just saying that one technique that really helped me is to reflect. There is a technique which is I think it's 5-hour reflection, right? Technique. And I also like to reflect in the extra physical dimension, because there, when you are manifesting yourself with the psychosoma, which is our astral body, which is deeply connected to our emotions, you can really unveil your real intentions, and you can see and perceive better your emotions, your reactions. What do you want with that? And you can even train for that difficult talk, So make some notes, have this projective goal. Oh, I want to deal with this family thing. Am I the best person to do it? How do I react? Why do I want so badly to do this clarity task? If it's really my goal, because we're in this family sometimes to make recompositions as well, okay, you can practice that. Reflecting in the intraphysical dimension, but also thinking with your psychosoma and your mental soma in the extraphysical dimension. Sometimes it helps, and you end up clarifying yourself,
Very good. Valeska, did you want to just finish saying what you were saying before you dropped out, or?
No, that's fine. I was closing the subject. It was the right time. Then I came back.
Okay,
My internet's
excellent.
not very good, but anyway, I could say everything.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, Adina?
There is another question from Luciano Rainier. Do you believe inner peace would improve the effective results of the clarity task, assistant to the assisted? What techniques in conscientiometrology and conscientiotherapy can calm emotions?
Okay, I will start. In conscientiometrology, the techniques to calm down yourself, because you need that. Sometimes when you're going to do some claritext to a person, to a student, and you are the best person to do that because you have a connection. This connection can have a huge impact on us. So you need to have some techniques to be okay. First thing I would say again, if you have a good intention, a certain intention of helping, you are more connected to his helper. So this will be a good thing. I mean, the best thing to start. Other condition is when you're going to help him, but if you didn't do properly your homework on that subject you want to help him or her, sometimes it will be difficult. It'll be more difficult to calm yourself down. So you need to have something going on that homework to be able to help that person on that subject. Because to help in a better way, you need to connect, to have a coupling with that person. So your energies, your bioenergies will be connected. And his or her impact will impact you as well. So you need to be calmer and borrow your homeostasis in your psychosphere to calm also all the extra-physical consciousnesses that are having as well that clarification task. So this is a condition to help in conscientiometrology, and I think in any in any situation, not only in conscientiometrology. But another one which is important, and I used to practice that with my students, the teachers in conscious, is to inner yourself. I mean, to have more emotional balance. You need to be able to face your pains, your discomfort or difficulties with emotions. And I don't see other way of doing that besides, facing them. Facing them is receive them gently. To be, the pain is a part of you. Usually you want to try to focus here, but our holosome is very intelligent, and all the energy goes to that pain. You need to focus. And the person says, I'm down now, I can't think. And I say, it's not to think. Now is the moment to you to feel. So this calms the person down. And then you can do the clarification task afterwards. Because she needs or he needs to think, to feel the pain, to feel something that is part of him or her. Usually wants to, even the teacher. So this is for everyone. So this peace inside we achieve by accepting our difficulties and not struggling with them, because that they become stronger, bigger when you struggle with them. I did something a bit different than the question, but I thought that was very important to bring for this conversation. If you don't understand anything, you are able to, you can ask, you can send your question, okay? If you're not clear enough. But that's my idea. Luis?
Consciential therapy by itself cannot calm down any emotions, Who does this is the own consciousness, okay? But we can help, and the first one is vibrational state, You have to be able to put in practice this vibrational state, wherever and whenever you are. And so and you want. Because if you are able to do it, it's very important, because you set up a holosphere, an atmosphere of calmness that is around. Maybe sometimes the subject is tough, and it's going to warm up a little bit, the emotions. But of course, we have always tried to keep the sense, try to keep the emotions down, even and try to think about what is behind the information. What is in the what's the meaning of this situation that we are talking about, and of course, sometimes it's difficult because we are talking about the people, and then many times clarity task is, as we said before, unpleasant, because we clarify, we expose a new information or something that the person doesn't like, and so the person has to listen, be able to listen, and of course we have to be to know our intention, and we have to know if you are competent to do it. That and in other thing is it, you have to ask, is it the right time to do it? Is it the right place? Which is the best energy, or the amount of energy that I should put in this kind of task, and of course try to predict the consequences of and the outcomes of this task. Of course, we don't. Sometimes we cannot be 100% sure about the outcome, but we have to have 51%, uh, of certainty to do so. But we are going to make mistakes. That's all. This is inevitable, but we will learn, I think.
Yes, that's it. Very good. Flavio?
I can contribute. In my case, I wrote an article about the influence of auto-incompletivity for the Penta practitioner. And in my case, when I make a lot of course about energies, then when I start to make a conscientiometry course and pass for the condition of guinea pig, and after that I make conscientiotherapy 2 times, it help, and a lot of self-research. It's helped me a lot to have more inner peace, because I know more about me and about my trajectory, and it can influence my Penta practice. And I say to the Penta practitioners, invest in consciential methodology, consciential therapy, and your self-research. It's very important for your Penta practice.
That's very good. And I should probably just mention for one of the books we have in English, right? The conscientiogram. I should probably mention. So you can actually download this book for free on the ISIC website. So for those people who would like to go deeper into understanding themselves and applying the conscientiogram techniques, there is the book, right? Conscientiogram in English that you can download.
You have this Penta.
Exactly.
And the glossary, English, Portuguese.
Exactly, that's right. And I think these books as well can be downloaded from this site, right? That's in the link below. So yes. That's great. And also we have the OIC website in English that that you can find information about conscientiotherapy, right, Lewis?
Yes, I would like to just add, when Flavio in the beginning said that projectiology book was very helpful for him in clarifying things for himself. And in our opinion, and of course in conscientiology, we know that books are great tools for clarification. And speaking about that, we are going to print a dictionary. It's a new book. It's going to be something made from the institution. It's a dictionary of conscientiotherapeuticology, okay, which is going to be 1,400 pages talking about the conscientiotherapy. And so I think this kind of subject is going to be very helpful for people who are interested in clarification task. Okay, anyone who is interested can go to the OIC site, website, and then there we are starting to promote the sales, sale, not a sale, but we're doing a campaign in order to publish this dictionary in a very few time. Okay.
Very good. Okay, great. So we're nearing the end of our time. It would be nice if each of you can just give some concluding comments about, just a last takeaway message for those people who are listening about this topic.
I think I have just said I would like to just finish with this. We have this new book, and it's going to be very helpful in this subject. Okay, thank you very much for the invitation.
Great.
Other book I think is very important. It's 700 Experiments of Conscientiology that will be in English. It's a very important book. And I want to say it's very important to think about how psychosoma work during the consult task, how to mental soma work. Because if you prefer use our mental soma, our discernment, our lucidity, it's an evolutionary attitude for us.
Great.
Yes, I'd like to invite and try to motivate people to experience out-of-body experiences, lucid projections, to better to unveil this reality that conscious live in, which is many dimensions and many bodies that manifest ourselves in many dimensions. If you want more information, by IPC, we have some YouTube channel, Instagram, and also website in English. Get in contact with us. And as Flavio said, you can start reading the projectiology book, because you can also download it for free and enjoy it.
Exactly, that's right. So in that same link with for the book downloads, you can also find the projectiology book there to download. So a very good treatise, right, that can help you to understand this phenomenon of the out-of-body experience better. Very nice. And Valeska, do you have some last comment you'd like to make? You're on mute.
Sorry. That's the main sentence of this past years. You are muted. Yes. Okay. I didn't have the time to bring to put together all these informations because I was giving class the day before yesterday, and this morning. So it was very, very difficult for me. But I mean, I would like to thank you to all these ideas we brought together here to help other people, and I'm at your disposal anytime to keep on doing that. That's the thing. I was just writing to you in private.
No, but it's nice to, yeah. I mean, you've said a lot of interesting comments throughout already about, you know, these concepts. So it's all there. Okay, very nice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just give a little bit of information about some upcoming activities. So so just the first activity that I'd like to mention is the upcoming bridge debates activities. In fact, the next couple of activities is going to be in Spanish and in German. So the Spanish in September and the German activity in November. So if you know anyone who speaks these languages, you'd like to invite them. There's some very interesting topics, right, that is coming up. So let's see, we've got paralaw and paradiplomacy abroad in Spanish in September. And then we have our nice flyer. And then we have reurbanization after the Second World War in German in November. Okay. And then the other activity, well, actually it's an event that's going to be happening in August of this year, from the 12th to the 14th of August, is our International Weekend of Conscientiology. Usually we do the International Week, but this year it's the first time we're actually doing the weekend. So it's 3 days of activities, a range of different activities, you know, for all different, how could I say, from beginners to, you know, advanced people, veteran people. You know, we're going to have like roundtable debates on a number of different topics. We're going to be publishing a new edition of our journal, the new books that are going to be translated in English, Spanish, and Romanian, and also the Universalism workshop. And any volunteers out there that is interested in, talking about those issues relevant to them, there's going to be a space, a kind of different interactive debates to discuss those relevant issues, right, for people. So very nice. So I would like to thank all of you guys that participated today to talk about this topic. It was very rich, your contribution. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Yes, sure. And also I would like to thank Sergio, who is behind the scenes, and also Adina, who's helping with the chat. So yes, a special thank you to you guys as well. And also to everyone who was watching online. So thank you for your questions and your contributions. And we hope to see you in the next Bridge debates. So thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.